Welcome back to Bible and Blues, and we're going to review episode 4 of Emerald City. I took notes this time, okay, and one thing I noticed when I took notes is this show jumps around a lot. It has several stories all converging into one mega story, right? So several subplots happening, and so this is probably I'm going to change how I'm going to review this next week because I noticed as much as it jumped around, it's really hard to get any sense of congruity with it. Okay, but for today we're going to go right along with the timeline of how they presented it. So in the opening scene, we see we have a doctor. It turns out her name is Jane. But it's Dr. Jane, and she is working on Jack, it turns out. So Jack, he's our Tin Man. So Jack is the one that last week, Jack was not nimble, Jack was not quick, and Jack did not take care of the Giants and the Beanstalk. Jack was pushed off of a balcony by Tip because he tried to kiss Tip, who still thought of herself as a boy. So Tip was upset by this and overreacted and pushed Jack off of the balcony, presumably to his death. We find today we find Jack is not dead. So then we move over to Lucas, Dorothy, and Toto. And they're off the path, okay? And they seem to be making peace after, what happened while dealing with Tip, where Dorothy saw, the brutality that Lucas has the ability to have. So they're kind of making up a little bit, kind of getting, figuring each other out a little bit better. And then all of a sudden we're introduced to this little girl comes running up and latches on to Lucas. And she's probably 7 years old, 8 years old, in that range. Okay. Silent, latching onto Lucas and acting, like she knows him or he's going to protect her or something. So anyway, my sleeve gets all curled up like that. Dorothy and Lucas kind of argue a little about what are they going to do. They need to get to City for Dorothy's sake, but Dorothy now wants to do something for this girl, and she's thinking this girl came from a village that they avoided, but they passed by recently. So they do that. So she wins. It's like, I'm not going to ignore this girl and her needs. She was a nurse, or at least, a nurse's assistant, maybe. I don't know, she's pretty young. So they go back to the village on that. So, I remember I told you it goes back and forth a lot. It makes it kind of hard to do a review only because I'm trying to keep the chronological order of how it happened. Okay. So now we go back over to the Wizard in Emerald City, and he's getting ready to leave Emerald City. There was a thing that happened in a small town, and it was the Wizard's guard had found the Emerald City guard had found inside this crypt had found this. It looks like a portal to me. Okay, but it's magic. So the Wizard has to respond to this. So he goes to the he's going to go to this town, and when he goes there, he takes one of his advisors, and he has several advisors given to him by Glenda, the Witch of the North, and so he rejects the council that was sent to replace Anna. Anna was the one that he was mad at. She confronted him and she told him he was wrong about something. he didn't like it. He threw her in jail, and the new council who kind of replaced her was not as good. He doesn't like her as much, so he rejects that council for going to this town, and he decides he's going to take Hannah. Okay. So now we'll go back to Jack. So Jack, he is the Tin Man, and we have about 30-second sequence. See how this is. Next week I'm gonna produce notes for each storyline, and I think it's gonna be better. I think it'll make for a better review. Because now we go right back over to Tip, and Tip she was on a bridge, okay, and she had the knife that Jack had stolen from the old lady that was keeping Tip a boy, and she puts the knife on the rail of the bridge. Very modern looking bridge, by the way. And she's getting ready to climb over. She's going to commit suicide. And there's this guard, and it's not the Emerald City guard. This guy's in red and black, and so he's a different, for something different. And so she's like, I'm a killer. I'd kill for you if you'll have me. He's like, well, I think I've got a use for you, and he takes her, and so she follows him. And now we're going back over to we find out that Jane is the name of the doctor for Jack, Jack's doctor, and so she's the one that's working with him. We go back over to Dorothy. This is horrible. I can't believe this. I'd like to redo this, but I'm not going to. And we go to Dorothy, and we see they're in the town. Dorothy's in the town with the girl. Lucas is in hiding. He doesn't really want to be in town. He's kind of like staying back a little bit. And it turns out the girl has snail shells in her ears, in both ears, and these are conical snail shells. So and they're kind of sharp. So if you push onto them, you break her eardrums. But Dorothy pulls one out, and all of a sudden the girl starts acting really scared. She can suddenly hear all these noises that she's not liking. I don't know if she's autistic, and it's very noisy, very loud to her. And so Dorothy puts the snail shell back in, which calms her back down. So I'm wondering if the girl is actually portraying the Cowardly Lion. It's potential is there. She has long blonde hair. Granted, she's like 7 years old, and so there. So now we go back to the wizard, and the wizard and and Anna are talking in a carriage. They're in a carriage. They're on their way to this town, and and they're talking, and she's telling him her prediction of what the beast is going to be like, and that the beast is going to be it's going to come from the sky, but it's going to have a heart, it's going to have a mind, it's going to be very ambitious, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And he's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to kill this thing. She's like, no, you don't understand. It has a heart. You can kill it, because it's going to be a living being. So it's not going to be a storm. It's not going to be anything else. So okay. So now we go back to Jack, and Jack is getting physical therapy. Surprisingly, the physical therapy looks very much, very similar to what you might see people do physical therapy, who are, recovering from some injury, perhaps, even with amputated legs, who are getting used prosthetics, or what have you. So that's a possibility. Back over to Tip. Tip is resisting the idea of being with. Oh, yeah, let's go with that, because I skipped some part about Tip. So last I talked, this is why I don't like this. So last time I talked to you about Tip Tip was saying to this captain that of some guard that she's she'll kill for him. She's a killer. She'll kill for him. And she's like, I only have a use for you. So he takes her to the Witch of the North, Glenda North, and Glenda North turns out, and of course she's the one that's been providing the counsel people for the wizard, the counselors, and this is kind of her supply. These are essentially orphans, girls who are orphans, and Tip is resistant. She wants no part of this. Okay. Oh, in walks West, apparently coming to visit her sister. I don't know. They don't really promise that much. In walks West, the Witch of the West, and so she's like, well, maybe you're just going about things the wrong way. Maybe her point is not going to be, a chaste nun. West gives her, the other option. The other option being, well, essentially to become a prostitute, and so Tip is not dumb. She just looks at her and says, "So you're saying that my choices really are nothing more to be a nun or a whore?" Kind of puts it all in perspective. Okay, so we saw Dorothy. Dorothy was pulled the shells out of the girl's ears, and then she put them back in. She's in the town at this time. She's in the village by this time. And Dorothy's trying to find the child's family. And Lucas is kind of freaking out. There's guards everywhere in there. And just so happens it's the guards that's looking for Dorothy. So she pulls. She goes behind a wall, and she pulls the gun out of her pack. And Lucas stops her. I mean, he kind of explains, "Hey, if you use this thing, they're going to claim you're a witch. I don't care what it is. They're going to claim you're a witch, and you're going to have a real big problem." So, Jack. We'll go back to Jack. This is. It was kind of hard to write notes on this because of all this back and forth. You know what it really reminds me of? When I was a kid, and during summer break and things like that, I didn't have a lot of friends. I had a few friends. I wasn't a complete loser, but one of the things I would kind of do is I kind of get my mom watched soap operas. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she watched some soap operas, and I would start to kind of get involved in soap operas just a little bit because they were always on. She had 3 of them she watched, I think, and the way they're structuring this, the back and forth so fast, it kind of reminds me of that. So I don't personally really like that structure. So when I do my review next week, I'm going to divide it up better so that you get the whole story of this person, there's this person, there's this person, much better. And so we're dealing with the way it is now because I kind of wrote the notes as they came at me, and there you go. So anyway, Jack. Okay. So Jack's trying to do something, and he's trying to use his new prosthetic mechanical arm to grab a glass of water. This is a practice thing. You have to practice on these things. Anybody who has ever had to deal with prosthetics will tell you you have to practice a lot. So he's practicing, and then he falls down, and somebody walks in. And he thinks initially that it's Dr. Jane, and it's not. So it's just kind of this mystery girl in a mask, and she's wearing a mask. She's blonde. She's very elegantly dressed, and she kind of surprises him. Then she goes over to this wardrobe, and she's talking the entire time. She's a little bit strange, without a doubt. A little bit rude, a little bit haughty. So did I say that word? Haughty. So, and she opens up the wardrobe, and there's several other masks in there. And she tried, she's like, well, what will I be today? And Jack says, how about an ass? And she puts on a mask that happens to be, I think it was a wolf. And she was like, no, I was that last week. I did that one last week. So, she puts on, she tries on a couple others, and then she whips around. She's wearing one it's a mechanical looking thing with very sharp edges. It's just, how about this in honor of the freak? And then she walks away. So that's how we're introduced to her. So, okay. So the wizard is taking the Wiz. That's funny because of that one show they did, early '80s. Anyway. that was called the Wisp. So okay, so the wizard takes Anna to this town, and he sends her in, and he's talking to the alderman, Jeremiah, and he sends Anna in, and she touches it. She's checking it out. She's touching it, and it's like she gets an electrical shock from it or something. She blows back, and she gets injured. And all of a sudden, the magic disappears. It's gone. Don't know what it was yet. I don't think we might find out later. We may not. I don't know. Okay. So, when Dorothy was in the town, she was asking around about the girl, anybody in the family, and this couple comes up and says, "Oh my gosh, Sylvia, we've been missing you. We've been looking for you. Where have you been? And I'm so grateful for you that you found her." And there's a guy there he has a tin, actually a pretty nice looking tin, really. And he opens it up, and there's a piece of candy for the girl. And let's get you some real food. And they take her, and she's like, Dorothy's like, I'm gonna follow. And so she goes out, she follows them. They go inside of a building, and we can see inside the building. Dorothy can't. They're kind of blocking the view, and it does not look good. It looks like an empty barn kind of thing, or an empty structure or something. So Dorothy goes, so Dorothy's figuring there's a problem. They block her out, and now Dorothy has has to get out of there because of the guards. Lucas says, "No, we have to take off." She's like, "No, this isn't right. We got to go back get the girl." She goes back to get the girl. She walks into the building where the girl was. Oh, by the way, she's wearing Lucas's clothes. She walks back into where the girl was, and the two people that are helping her, were essentially taking her, are now, they become statues. I mean, they just, they look like sandstone statues or something like that. Sandstone, dark charcoal statues. And the girl's like, she looks really weird. Her eyes are messed up. Her eyes are the actual color of her eyes is like twice as big as it should be, and let alone the pupils. But just the whole thing, and she's acting kind of weird. She's shaking a little, shaking in a weird way, and Dorothy kind of seems to talk her down a little bit. Girl calms down, and then her eyes do return to normal, and apparently she can hear Dorothy. Because Dorothy's like, "Can I touch you? Can I do this?" And she ends up having to break the bodies apart with a hammer to free the girl. Because so there it is. That was kind of weird. What do you think about that one, huh? What's up with this girl? So, anyway, Tip. Back over to Tip. Tip's finally agreed to take a bath. Thank you. What is it about kids and baths? I don't know. And she tips her head into the water. She pops back up, and oh no, there's another girl in the bath. Well, bear in mind that Tip is not accustomed to being a girl, let alone being around other, naked girls. So, so she's really self-conscious. And the girl's talking to her and saying, "Well, what are you doing? You don't want to be here. You don't want to be adopted, or what do you?" And Tip's like, "No, I don't want to." And then West came and said, "West is interested in you too." And then Dorothy dunks her head back underneath the water, and while she's underneath the water, we see that the other girl is actually West under some sort of illusion. So, okay. So Dorothy, anyway, back over to Dorothy. Dorothy has run into the guards. Doesn't go very well. She pulls out the gun, fires one shot into the air, and then ends up having to shoot the actual guard that was then chasing her down. The actual guard knows Lucas, calls him what does he call him? Nolan, I think. Okay, so Jack's doctor is nervous. Jack sees the doctor's very nervous. Asks him about did you see a girl? He was just like, yeah, I saw her. Was she cruel? She's like, no, she's just really strange. And what was her name? She's Langadair. Langadair. I think it's Langadair. Okay. So then Tip goes to talk to West and says, I want your magic. I don't want to forget anymore. I want your magic. I want to learn I want to learn magic. So So then we go back to the wizard, and Jeremiah is the alderman who is of that town, and Jeremiah is talking to the wizard, and they're talking, and he's like, well, the beast is not something that you can stop. He's not something that you can kill. The beast is a necessary thing. The beast comes to cleanse the Oz. He's part of it, and magic is part of it. So this is not good for the wizard. The wizard does not want magic. He loses all power if magic is powerful. So, okay. So, yeah. So, so Dorothy does shoot the guard. Yeah, that fast, right? Okay, so next we see Jack again, and Jack is climbing a set of stairs, a spiral staircase going up and up and up, and he's looking up, and it's just, there's probably about 5-6 floors to go up. And he's like, do I really have to go all the way up? And the doctor looks at him and says, just one step at a time. Really? Okay. So he gets up to the top, and then all of a sudden they are face to face with the strange woman of the mask. Turns out this is Lady Ev, also known as Langadier, and the doctor's going to leave and leave Jack there. And he's like, well, why can't I go with you? I'm kind of gotten used to you a little bit, and it turns out that the princess has subsidized everything the doctor does. He's actually paying for everything. And so the princess pretty much owns Jack now, and he's a commodity to her. So there it is. So we go back to Dorothy. We're getting to the end here. If we go back to Dorothy, Dorothy shows Lucas. Lucas is asking questions about what's your world like? Is there magic there? And she's talking about science, and well, as you can imagine, our science would look a lot like magic to them. So she shows Lucas. Dorothy shows Lucas her iPhone, pulls her iPhone out, and she puts the earbuds in his ear, and she turns on "Ain't No Sunshine," and freaks Lucas out. But now he has this whole idea of the music coming into his ear and everything, and it's really crazy. And then they kiss. Okay, so. And then we go back over to Jeremiah is forced to turn and speak out against magic because a guard has a knife to his pregnant daughter's stomach, essentially. Do what the wizard says, or your daughter and the baby dies. Yeah. So Jeremiah is forced to tell the people of his village, we don't. Magic is not good anymore. We deal with science, and yada yada yada. And in the final scene, this is kind of painful. Dorothy and Lucas and the guard are all involved, and Dorothy and Lucas wake up hearing something. Okay, they wake up in the morning. They can hear something, and he's like, Lucas tells Dorothy, get out, I'll get the girl, and Dorothy starts running, and the girl and Lucas get up, and boom, there's our guard, our Emerald City guard, and so and then somebody uses some sort of throwing weapon. Blunt object weapon against Dorothy, and she is knocked out cold while she's trying to run. So I'm going to change how I'm doing this one, and one of the contrasts that I saw is I watched two shows, and I'm going to be doing the other one tomorrow, which is episode 2 of Taboo, and I took notes on both of them, and by taking notes on both of them, kind of really drilled this whole thing in. The difference in how the shows are done. Taboo only has really a couple of stories going at all, and Emerald City has four stories. There's Dorothy, the Wizard and Jeremiah was going with Jeremiah, Jack and Tip. Now, they're all connected, but they're doing. I'm going to separate them out differently. So anyway, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to make a better review. I'm going to change my review process next week. So bear with me, people. I hope you like this one. Give me any comments that you have for me down below. What do you think about me changing the format of how I review them so that maybe I stick with one story to its completion and go to the next story to its completion and to go to the next story to its completion? Do you think that's going to be a good idea? Do you think it's going to help? Is it going to make it easier for you to follow? I think it's going to make it a whole lot easier for me to say. So, I mean, it's the way they did this, it's good. But it's it's fine for watching, but for reviewing, it's really hard. So anyway, wow, I've gone almost half an hour on this, and so half the episode just to review the episode. Let's see what I can do about whittling that down and edit. All right, well, God bless. We'll talk to you later.